Good morning. Welcome to the I Stand Correct podcast. No, we don't have to wait for 10 people. We're not going to wait all day. Right? 'Cause that's what it would take. Good morning. Hope everyone had a great weekend. It was my favorite week of football, divisional round of football. The only game that was a turd, of course, was the 49ers. It's nice to see that they could not even put up an effort. One of my favorite things after the games is seeing all the reels and memes that come out, and it showed the 49ers before the game kind of getting, roused up, encouraging one another. And it said all this to kick 2 field goals. Very interesting. Before I get into the memes, I've always wanted to talk about this, but this is something I've never been allowed to talk about. I wonder how quickly I can get through this because I want to talk about it, and I want to read from a credible source, which would have to be someone other than me. But today is the day that we remember Martin Luther King Jr. And in a world where we topple statues of Robert E. Lee and various others, but we extol Martin Luther King Jr. with boulevards and remembered speeches, we never ever talk about the real guy, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So if you Google Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dark side, you get several articles about him. And I'm looking at one that was published in 2016, so kind of before the modern fracas that we're in now. And it was updated January of 2025, so probably edited to remove some of the darker stuff about him. But this is from a website called allthat'sinteresting.com. This is by Richard Stockton. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dark side. Let's talk about him like a real person. Of course, no one is perfect. Somebody like Bill Clinton, I think we talk about him as being, well, he was a fairly good president. We had, no major wars, forget about Yugoslavia or whatever. He did have that little infidelity or whatever, but no one ever really talks about Martin Luther King Jr. Accusations of infidelity. King married Coretta Scott in 1953, and they seem to have been happy with each other until his death in 1968. A shared belief in civil rights helped their marriage remain a happy one. Scott had been an anti-segregation activist early on, and the two seemed to have a genuine affection for each other. Another less happy element that kept the couple together was Scott's ability to turn a blind eye to the countless affairs that King had while he was on the road. The FBI began tapping King's phones in the spring or summer of 1963 and later planted bugs in his hotel room when he stayed on the road. Initially, the FBI worried about the communist infiltration of King's group, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, because of his association with known former communists such as Stanley Levison. What came through the tapes wasn't communist plotting, however, but intense, nearly constant sexual activities with countless women that he met on his travels. The recordings and the incidents they revealed shocked the FBI. Many times, King recruited multiple women who appear to have been a mix of groupies and prostitutes who may have been paid with SCLC money for post-speech trysts that ranged from plain one-on-one, good old-fashioned extramarital to orgies that involved half a dozen people. Several other clergymen in his entourage were typically present for these indiscretions, according to King's closest friend, Ralph Abernathy, who drew criticism for airing King's dirty laundry in his 1989 memoirs. According to Abernathy, just about everybody attached to King believed in Christian moral precepts, but they had a hard time keeping to them. When King traveled to Oslo to receive the 1964 Nobel Peace Prize, for example, two of his associates nearly got themselves kicked out of the hotel when hotel staff caught them chasing nearly naked prostitutes through the halls. King was especially fond of arranging sex with women he met at his speeches. According to one of his associates, both black and white women would pass King their phone numbers or hotel room keys minutes after meeting him. Nobody who knew him then seems to remember an occasion when he passed up such an invitation. These escapades eventually became common knowledge, Interviewed in private years later, even Jackie Onassis admitted that Robert Kennedy had told her all about the FBI recordings and that what she knew appalled her. Some anonymous person at the FBI even sent copies of the tapes to both King and his wife. King allegedly brushed off the exposure with a remark about being surprised that they knew so much about him, while Scott later claimed that she couldn't make out what she heard and ignored the whole thing. Years later, Scott told an interview she had never asked King about the infidelity. She didn't want to bother him over things like that, she said. He was too important to be bothered. Perhaps the most lurid tale of King's relationships with other women comes from the last night of his life in his 1989 book about the civil rights movement and the walls came tumbling down. King's closest friend, Ralph Abernathy, wrote that he, King, and a few others left the Masonic temple where King had delivered his last speech to go get some drinks and attend a party. King reportedly disappeared into a bedroom at the party with a young woman and didn't come out until about 1 a.m. Abernathy and King then left the house together and returned to the Lorraine Motel, where a female state legislator awaited him. King again disappeared into a bedroom with the woman while Abernathy stretched out to get some sleep. At around 8 a.m. in the morning, according to Abernathy, King shook him awake and asked for help in dealing with a third woman who he said had been waiting for him all night and was very angry. She was angry. She was tired of waiting for sex. Abernathy followed King back to his room and witnessed an argument between the pair that quickly turned physical. He claims that the two struggled briefly and that King eventually struck the unnamed woman hard enough to knock her across the bed and that she left soon thereafter. The date was April 4, 1968. Around 10 hours later, just after 6 p.m., King stepped out on the balcony for a cigarette and was shot by a sniper. Ralph Abernathy held him until he died and then waited more than 30 years until he was near death himself to write what he knew about Martin Luther King Jr. that he loved and admired. Wow. So, a philanderer and a woman beater. But he sure can talk them pretty words about how he has a dream that someday people will be judged by the content of his character. This is not to claim that I'm perfect or anything. I haven't had orgies. I'm 100% orgy free at this point. But even if you want to look the other way at these things and say, well, nobody's perfect, we should at least have a realistic portrayal of who this guy was. And I don't know, Rosa Parks, that story is completely fake, but I'll leave that for another time. Good morning to everyone who joined me. Tyler's here from Canada. Abby's here. Hardly ever see Abby anymore. Abby's moved on to bigger and better things, I suppose. Jenny's here. She says it's a holiday and the States, so many people will be sleeping in, not doing the daily grind. I have literally never, ever had this day off. I don't recall ever not going to work on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I don't know who in the government has this day off, but it's never been me. I have literally never had the day off to reflect on Martin Luther King Jr. If that's what you all do, But I've never had a job where I didn't have to show up for that. Even before I was in the government, I was in retail. We opened up that day. So I just went to work. So I don't even know where you find a job where you don't have to work today. You guys are all off. Firefighters and what is Abby's job? She's a gadabout, I think. I think that's the term for it. Silamander's here. Silamander and others, Jenny and Brittany, anybody who really loves me. If you really love me, you should be advised I will be on this Friday's episode of Hard Time. I've taken a break from that show to heal my troubled mind. But if you love hearing me, that episode is already recorded in the can and has some nice flourishes on it. That will drop on Spotify on Friday morning. So if you want even more of me, you get it. Of course, the Canadian doesn't know what we're talking about. That's fine. All right. Just another bullshit holiday. Okay. It's like Canada doesn't have that. I mean, you literally have Boxing Day. Okay. That day doesn't make sense. Jonathan, how do you enjoy the rain energy? I haven't had those. This one, this rainstorm energy, Valencia orange, is actually one of my all-time favorites. I don't know how well you can see it here. I'll put even more light on it. This is delightful. This one tastes exactly like orange juice, but without all those pesky vitamins. So it is perfect for the morning. You feel like you're doing something good for yourself, but obviously you're not. You would not do that. Wonderful. Mondays just suck for me, John. I hear you, Garfield. I know they suck for you. And Thursdays at 7 p.m. do not work. Okay. Well, we've been dropping content on Comp Center Tuesday nights at 7. Okay. That's all right. The post office has today off. That's who I need to work for. Do you think I could become a letter carrier out here? You know, they would just give me a vehicle with a steering wheel on the other side. I wouldn't walk a route. I don't think. I think it's actually really hard to become a letter carrier, though. I'm not sure I could pass the test for that. I could send an ambulance to a house, but I couldn't drop off a letter there. John, it's a bank holiday. My girlfriend is off today. Okay, so if you work at banks and schools and banks and the post office, you get it off. Come work at hospital. I'd been the first job I ever had worked at with holidays off. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to do what you do. You occasionally mention how certain healthcare providers drive you insane, and I wouldn't be able to put up with that even one day. Are they carbonated? That's a good question. It's kind of a bad deal when you can't tell. I don't think it's carbonated. It does have a box that says quality assured on it, so it does have quality. I don't think it's carbonated, no. It's kind of a bad deal when you drink it and you still can't tell. You're like, I don't think so. All right, they're arguing about, oh, you don't love me enough to watch an episode of Hard Time? You know what's funny about you, Salamander, is that you like shows and then something happens and then you turn your back on them forever. Because I believe you used to be a big Mike the Cop fan, and now you talk about him as though you don't care if he lives or dies. You used to listen to Hard Time, I know, because you used to tell me all the time that you had problems with it processing your credit card for the subscription. Now you don't care. By the way, that episode dropping on Friday is free. It's for everyone, not just subscribers. You won't listen to that. Okay. Being a letter carrier isn't hard. Were you a letter carrier? I didn't know that either. I didn't know how to keep up. 7 p.m. is dinner time. Sorry. I'm competing with dinner time. Dinner time is a fixed time. You can't have dinner at any other time. You couldn't have it at 6 or at 8 or at 5. I'm going to be honest with you. That makes me feel like shit. I can't watch that. I'm eating dinner. Okay. All right. That's fine. Way to put me in my place. A totally an event which happens every day, which can be scheduled whenever you want. I can't compete with that. All right. Jonathan's probably the Rockstar juice lightly carbonated. Probably is. Yeah, it's probably because that's why I can't tell the difference is that it has a little bit, but not a lot. I was a letter carrier for a bit, right, John? It's not surprising. No. You know, has it occurred to you that you could do something that I can't do? You should take that into account. My great grandfather was one of those rural mail carriers in Kansas in the late 1800s, early 1900s, had the wagon with a tiny coal burning stove in it so they didn't freeze. Wild. I had a truck with one of those. Jonathan, I will be there this Thursday finally. That's great. I don't know if there's an episode on Thursday or not. We're really changing things up this year. I've got some content that's going to drop tomorrow night. I'd actually planned to do this content earlier, And then it's about the dentist in Ohio. And then I listen to the 911 calls, and then I'm just like, oh, well, these are utterly typical, and there's nothing interesting about them. And then they arrested a suspect in that case, and then I'm like, well, I'm just not going to do that because like I missed whatever boat there was on this. And then Drew did the forensics room last Thursday, and apparently they love us. Or he says they love me, which I think, I don't even know if that's true, and that they want more of me. So whatever. I did a brief some content about the 911 calls about the dentist who was found, and his wife who was found shot and killed in Tennessee. And then I dispel some of the rumors about welfare checks and how all those work. And then I address the comments in other shows about how much they hate 911 dispatchers. And it always surprises me that people with no 911 training say that these dispatchers need training. How would you know? It's fine. Back when I lived on Pacific time, it was 4 p.m., which was perfect. Right. Well, I would hate to tell you to have to move something. Well, I had dinner with my husband. I think he prefers I pay attention to him. Uh-huh. But you couldn't pay attention to him an hour earlier, an hour later. Okay. Whatever. So my ancestor was obviously able to do that and this, and yet I'm sad when the seat heaters in my truck don't get warm quickly enough. My heater in my truck works just fine till about 20 degrees. And then after that, you're done. It then just gives up. Last night, I'm driving home into a strong headwind. Said the wind was going at like 20, 30 miles an hour. And it's about 0 degrees air temperature. I was pretty well frozen all the way through by the time I got home. And I was driving straight into the wind, and I needed gas. And I'm like, well, I'll probably make it because I can get 50 miles, when the gas light comes on here. And then I'm watching the mileage remaining till empty dropping faster. Like it would go 15 miles, 14 miles, 13 miles, 12 miles. So it's like I haven't even gone 1 mile. And it's because I was, moving along at a good clip, 55, 60 miles an hour, but straight into that headwind. So I actually had to change directions so that I went through a town and got some gas on the way home. But it took over an hour to get home last night just because of the wind. I couldn't believe how much that slowed me down. I was a big Dave fan. I accepted Mike. I liked Failure to Stop till Tansy became an egocentric fucktard, and that all the shows started sucking. Notice I followed all the good shows that left to go independent. It's pretty harsh. Very harsh. He did change a little bit once he was on his own, but he kind of had to. Like he was always kind of like the little spoon to Mike. But then when there's no big spoon, what do? I don't know. What is better than seat heaters? Steering wheel heaters. Yeah, at one point I had my left hand, even though I had a glove on, it was frozen from gripping the wheel. By the way, I did turn on the truck half an hour before I left, but it was just too cold, and I had to tuck my hand back into my coat because my hand was frozen. I had to switch to my right hand to drive. Anyway, some people are mad. I don't know. Some people won't watch me under certain circumstances. They won't watch Mike. They won't watch Eric. And God forbid if there's a dinner time, they're not going to watch me either. So, I guess I feel pretty small today, at least. And I'm not even, I'm not getting celebrated, and I don't have orgies. So, like, my insignificance is really chakra shattering today. I don't know why I get up for this. Jonathan, I forget, is your truck diesel? No. No, it's not diesel. There's no excuse. It's obviously just broken. I will never own another vehicle with starting wheel heaters. It's gas. Yeah. No, there's no reason why it should be functioning this way. It's obviously it needs help. Let's just do the memes. This is 20 minutes in. We did reach 11 people today. Somehow we have 11 people watching, all of whom have a very middling opinion of me. Guys, are you aware that you could fit every single resident of Greenland into AT&T Stadium where the Cowboys play, and you would still have 34,000 empty seats. So when we're talking about taking over Greenland, this might be the smallest enterprise ever attempted that they have made such a big deal about. I know. How many people do you have to conquer before it becomes wrong? But this is really not a lot of people. 34,000 people. There's fewer people than that in the area that I supply 911 to. So they wouldn't even qualify for statehood based off of the number of people who live there. A lot of people have been talking about making Greenland the 51st state. It wouldn't qualify for statehood. It would have to be a U.S. territory. There's not enough people there. And you wouldn't want them as a state anyway. That would completely fuck up the balance of power, because all these people are they're voting their version of progressive politics. And so I want them as part of the United States, and we will have them come hell or high water, but they will not be a state. We will not do that. Guys, just remember, Greenland rightfully belongs to Albania. So like Denmark and the United States are fighting over Greenland. That's an Albanian country. Put it back, thief. Oh, breaking news. The U.S. has captured the Prime Minister of Greenland. That's right. Yukon Cornelius is taken quickly into custody. The famed peppermint mogul and peppermint prospector who rose to power through his vicious Machiavellian schemes has been taken into custody by federal authorities. Took slightly longer than Maduro, but we got him. Hear me out, National Guard, but for ICE, for dudes who don't want to give up lucrative careers. Yeah, that's me. But want to help deport some people 1 weekend a month. If I could help out ICE 1 weekend a month, do you think I wouldn't do it? I absolutely would. I would love it. If I only had to go up there and deal with it on a Saturday and a Sunday and then go back to my regular job, I'm going. I'm doing it, absolutely. They can pay me when I'm working at 911. I would go up there and be an ICE agent 1 weekend a month. I would happily do it. Drew asked me if I was going to apply for ICE, and I told him I was too old. I'm 41. I'm at the age that most ICE agents retire because they start doing it in their 20s or whatever. And if it wasn't for that, I would get up there. Nobody imagined the modern firearms when writing the Second Amendment. Nobody imagined modern women when they started writing the 19th Amendment. Do you think that back in the early 20th century, that when we were penning the 19th Amendment to give women the right to vote, you're right, you're welcome, that came from men, we gave you the right to vote. Do you think that they were thinking about how women would be preoccupied with the ability and the right to murder their unborn children? Did we ever stop to think that that's what women would be most concerned with using their right to vote for, making sure that they would be allowed to do that? I think it might have given us pause. If the Seahawks don't win today, I'm taking out the West Coast. Luckily for us, luckily for California, luckily for Brittany, the Seahawks dominated. They scored enough points in the first minutes of the game to win. They scored 7 points within the first few seconds of the game, and the 49ers were never even able to match that in the following 60 minutes. So, well, if it wasn't for that, Mount St. Helens would have blown up, would have taken out the West Coast. You can only bring back one person. George Floyd, just 1%. Nobody wants that guy back if he's even dead. Renee Good, 1%. Tupac, 28% would bring that guy back. And then, of course, your Mr. Mustachio from Germany, 70% would bring it back. My algorithm's pretty much fucked up. Sorry, but it is. You wouldn't believe the amount of appreciation for Mr. Mustachio that is out there. People love the guy. There's a picture of him standing at the Eagle's Nest looking out over the mountains, and he's got his dog, his German Shepherd there, Blondie, and the dog has his paw up on the rail, and Adolf has his hand up on the rail, and the dog's holding his hand, and they're looking out over Germany. And it's just like everybody loves the guy. And he's the first person to introduce laws that protect protect animals from cruelty and violence. And then other people are like, yeah, they ended child prostitution within 2 weeks. That's what anti-Semitism is. Everybody loves the guy. I mean, it's Gen Z has an unbridled, unrestrained appreciation and fascination with the guy. And apparently there's memos that came out on how to reduce death rates at the camps and all this. So is it possible that Martin Luther King Jr. was not the guy that we were all told he was in school? And that it's possible that Mr. Mustachio is also not the guy that we were all taught? I mean, I remember I mentioned this last week, but Patton got to Germany and he saw the Soviets taking over and he said, we fought the wrong side of this war. He said we should have been fighting alongside the Germans, and then he wound up in a car accident. Is it possible that we were misled? That's all I'll ask. Hello, said the night watchman. How did you get up here? Am I being detained? Corduroy whispered. It's just a night watchman. He might send you back to Teddy Bear Land, though. So you decided to become isolated and weird. This might as well be me. You know how I can prove that I'm isolated and weird? Literally not once in my entire life. Not one time have I heard anyone ever say out loud 6-7 to me. On the internet, I read all these memes about children saying the numbers or the numerals 6 and 7, 6, 7 together. Don't know what it means. I've never heard it in any kind of context that would make sense to me, but I've never heard anyone say that. It's literally never happened to me because I spend the time that I have is usually spent around older people than me. I've never heard it. First Greenland, then Canada. I don't want Canada. Harsh but true. You can always depend on me to tell it exactly how I see it. Pretty sure that's why most folks like me. I say what they won't. Yeah. Boy, you're a toughie. Michael Hendricks, that QR code up in the corner is for John's Venmo PSA. Everyone knows that by now. I've been using that for weeks. I'm struggling this morning. I have coffee in hand and fighting off a headache. You got to go get the pills. I will never own another vehicle without steering wheel heaters. That's good to know. I like how the West Coast ends at Seattle. It does. What else is after Seattle? So, Wassilamander, with that in mind, is there a reason why you won't listen to my show on Friday? If you're just busy or you don't want to, that's fine. But you kind of have it loaded up. You're like, yeah, I don't love you enough to listen to Hard Time on Friday. Is there something that you're prepared to say as the world's most imminent authority on just giving it to me straight? It's funny, you know, we with the rest of the human race, you know, you look down on all of us for not giving it to you straight. But we might have a thing called tact that helps all of us get along. And many of us are appreciated for tact. So just something to think about. Wow. Just saw Michigan has a 100 plus car pileup. Thank God I don't have to deal with that. That's your son. You need to go see your sister. She's not young enough to be saying that either. Oh my God, you've never heard that? No, I haven't. I coached kids in archery, and the day one, they said, if you little bastards, if anyone says that you're going to get kicked out of practice. She wasn't joking. What's so annoying about it? I mean, I get that it's an annoying thing, but I don't get what's so annoying about it. I don't understand because I've never heard it before. I had a child come up to me and say, look at this cool thing, and then went 6/7 and did the hand motion. Holy crow, there's a hand motion. My daughter does it to annoy me. I don't have any idea. So that's proof right there that I am isolated and weird. Me whispering to Starbucks employee, someone took a venti poop on the floor. Is it literally 30 ounces? Please stop wearing Carhartt if you've never eaten there. I remember a friend of mine, cute girl when I was 14. You know, she's the girl that you have a crush on when you're 14, but you're not really dating her. Even if you kind of date her, you're really not. And she kind of had a punk aesthetic, and this girl wore an independent trucking shirt. It has an iron cross on it, I think, and it says independent. I don't know. The point is, it's a very punk thing to wear, I guess. I don't know. I'm not very punk either. But this girl says to her, like, do you even know what that means? And she goes, I'm just real independent. No one talked to me at that age, so it's fine. But just don't wear Carhartt if you've never eaten there. The game I'm working on has a bug in which you are able to give an unconscious character pasta. They will stand up, gratefully accept the pasta, then lie right back down, just like in real life. Thank you for this pasta. Being a dad is actually really funny because you're just smarter, funnier, and stronger than people who you spend 90% of your time interacting with, your wife and your children. And they respect you and they fear you because of your drinking. Oh, my Lord. Part of my new diet is just doubling my nicotine intake. Yes, that's something I've been thinking about a lot. I've been thinking about doing the Zen pouches. And I don't know why I don't need nicotine. It's not like it's an essential vitamin. Like, oh, man, John, your blood tests came back. Your nicotine levels are critically low. I feel like I need a thing. I feel like I should be doing something else. I don't know. Scrolling Instagram. Wow, a man I betrayed got married. Good for Noah. He got into grad school. He seems to have recovered from my betrayal. Oh, Mike just had a son. One day I will betray the boy, as I did his father. What's funny about this is that there must have been a time on Instagram where if you had friends on there and you followed your friends, it showed you what your friends were doing. My Instagram does not do that. I don't know how yours works. Don't ask me to babysit your kids unless they know how to Narcan me. That's lesson number one. Folks, kids, you know, want to take this thing and push this plunger down and make you sure you shoot it straight up my nose. Burger King implores you to try. Try. I'm trying Burger King. Makes you wonder what the restaurant this was before, if they had a perfectly round sign. Was it a Starbucks before? Possibly. The amount of water you actually need to drink to be hydrated is so obscene. Who does this body think it is? A data center? I'm not a data center. I don't need to be drinking tens of thousands of gallons of water, particularly not when I have my chemicals. Pantothenate. Look, John, that's not good for you. Guys, here's a would you rather. All right, so put the answers in the chat. Would you rather meet the love of your life and get married and live happily ever after, or get shot and killed? What do you guys think? Would you rather meet the love of your life and get married and live happily ever after to the end of your days, or do you want it all to end today, get shot and killed? Cannot wait to read your responses. This intro paragraph is done. First of all, look at that massive indent. That's clearly a 1.5 indent. Have you ever wondered what the culture was like in the early 20th century in America? Well, you're in the wrong. You're in luck, because in this paper, I'll tell you all about it. Exclamation point. Also not academic. Keep reading to find out more. I was trying to think of a good way to describe the culture of the 20s through the 40s. And that's when it dawned on me. dawned on me. Jazz music was important in this time. The Great Depression too, perchance. This might be the worst writing I've ever read. And that's when it dawned on me. Jazz music was important. Great Depression too, perchance. My Lord. It's actually pronounced jazzlight. You've been saying it wrong this whole time. Let's see what the comments have to say about what people would do in that would you rather scenario. I want 1 and 2. So Jenny wants to get married to the love of her life and be happily ever after and be shot and killed. She just wants them all. She just wants to get it all over with. Brittany says Elijah. Elijah says, but if we can make Satan out to be a good guy, why not Mr. Mustachio? I like how that's officially his name now. When I believe he was evil, you've not often given permission to think critically about him, which opens up the door to doubt. Elijah, you should be doing the show because you could say so concisely and so intelligently what I ramble on about for 10 fucking minutes. Get on the show. Just do the show. Just get on here. Nobody needs me for anything. The rise of atheism led to an attack on belief in both God and Satan. In time, Mr. Mustachio replaced Satan as the embodiment of pure evil in the American consciousness. That is without a doubt very true. Get on the show. Just do the show. Elijah, if you do want a thought that is deep to go with this, what's interesting is that if you read the Old Testament, all of the characters who come in, characters like they're fake, all of the people who came into conflict with the prophets, with Moses, with David, with all of the heroes of the Bible, none of them doubted the existence of God. They would often question the goodness of God. That goes right back to Genesis, where the serpent questions of Eve, is that what God said? Did he say that? So it was never about doubting the existence of God. It was about questioning the existence. But Satan has come so far that now people don't even believe in God. So Satan's really taking some ground here. Don't do sin. It's not worth it. Okay, I've never, but don't do it. Nicotine gum is okay. I asked Andrea to check with Ryan about it, and he said it doesn't mean anything. So at least there is that. I have no idea what that means. Oh, 6, 7. Why would we be asking them? Is there some reason why we would ask Andrea and Brian what it means? Are they like authorities or something? Lovely people, but you know, what are they authorities on? It doesn't annoy me, but that's probably because if it's annoying, he will do it more. Oh, yeah. Why would we ask Andrea and Brian? I feel like you mentioned them because they're like, oh, they're the smartest people we have access to. I have me. It doesn't mean I'm all knowing, but I don't know. I guess if I was trying to solve a mystery, I wouldn't think to ask Andrea and Brian. Whatever. Good for you. Would you rather meet the love of your life? We talked about that. Very few answered. That's fine. Freedom is realizing that we're all dying. Send that text, buy that bike, smoke that cigarette, say I love you, swing on that dude. Just get it all done. All the stuff that you're not doing. This is your one chance. You're dying right now. So go ahead, do what you need to do. Get it all done. I guess that's my advice. Hanging out with your friends is an echo chamber. You need to always invite one guy who sucks and everyone hates just to add some excitement. Is that why you turned on the show? You're like, I've had such a great time with my friends. Now I want to have John playing in the background. Well, I go to the bathroom and do my chores or whatever. I need something robust, something precise. Ah, yes. I have most of these. I got an NES Advantage when I was a kid. I got it from Toys R Us. I got a gift card from my Uncle Tracy. The Nintendo controller, of course, came with the console. I got the light gun at some point. The dog bone controller, I bought one of those, and damn it, if it doesn't work, it makes me mad. I bought it brand new not that long ago. It doesn't work. There's also a kind of a hybrid controller down at the bottom I don't have. And I also don't have the Power Glove. If you have the Power Glove, you're a very special boy. I was never someone with access to that kind of technology. You know, I'm really starting to regret my it is currently the year 2025 tattoo. You know, indelible. Who thought that would not age well? It is currently the year 2025. I can handle a lot of things, but someone trying to have a conversation in the morning with me is not one of them. Yeah. If there was 2 people on the show, I wouldn't be able to do it in the morning. It's pretty well documented. I can't have a conversation really before 10 a.m., 10:30, 11. I can remember working with one of my best friends at the prison, and we would start work at 5:45 in the morning, super fucking early. Oh man, painfully early. And if he would try to talk to me, I would just be so rude to him. I remember one time we were just sitting there and he's doing count and he's looking at the count slips, and I just look at him and I'm just like, and he had done nothing wrong. It's just that it was super fucking early. Don't talk to me. Introverts, when they have to fulfill plans they made a week ago when they were in a good mood. This is a fucking nightmare. You guys do that at all now? You make plans, and then when it's time to actually do them, you are not in the mood. Brian is gang activity. Okay. I was trying to solve a mystery. I would find Scooby-Doo. Right. Brian gives courses on gang activities. Okay. Did you know that just because he gives courses on them doesn't mean he's an expert either? I'm sorry if we're going to question Martin Luther King, the mustachioed man, and Brian Sanders all in one day. You know, the reason I say that is because we would go to courses, we would go to classes at the state penitentiary, and they would show us pictures of inmates who had tattoos, and they would give us, information, letters that have been intercepted, all the intelligence they're gathering from inside the prison about the gang activity, who's beefing with whom, and all this. And then it occurred to me while I'm sitting there and he's doing this presentation, which I have no doubt that he was told to do by the major, but I'm just like, he could just be making all this up and we would have no way of knowing. We have no way of knowing. And so after the presentation was over, I walked up to this guy. He was a lieutenant. And I said, you made all that up, didn't you? And he's just like, you know, he's like, what does it matter to us? We're the line correctional officers. We know gang material when we see it, and we know to turn it over to him. He doesn't have to give us any information about who's beefing with whom. When someone punches someone, we just lock them up. We don't need to know about all that. And it's good if you do, but I mean, like, you know, he had to do a presentation and he came up with one. Brian Sanders probably likes giving presentations in which he sounds authoritative and he gets up there and talks, but it's like, where's the verification of any of this? It's not independently verifiable, and he gets paid. So he's a man of integrity. We all like Brian, but what if he wasn't? Would you have any way of knowing? I'll just leave you with that. I don't think anyone knows the origin of 6-7. It's just one of those things that has no origin. There's some real Brian lovers out there in the audience. I could tell I pissed him off. 2 people left because I started questioning the validity of Brian Sanders. Well, go watch his show. He has a show. I have to hang around for mine. They want you weak. They want you powerless. They want you clean and dry. They want your teeth brushed. They want you tucked in and cozy with a little light on your closet in case you get scared. It's bedtime. I love you. Good night. That really changed. If I'm telling a story and you stop paying attention for a moment because you need to take care of your baby, you can consider our friendship terminated. How long have you known me, but you're going to stop and pay attention to this guy? I don't know what would be worse, me telling a story and someone stopping real quick to take care of a baby, or me taking time out of my life all week to prepare a podcast with assets that's at 7 p.m. on Thursday, but you're going to have dinner then. Can't be moved. Yeah, I do all this work for no reason because that's dinner time. Never mind that you don't even prepare that dinner all week. You probably only start preparing it at 6. God sakes. One day you'll find someone who truly loves you, but for now, focus on alcohol. Just do that. I would do that. A 72-hour hold in a psych unit is beginning to intrigue me as a potential vacation opportunity. They give you those little slippers so you don't slip. They take your belt away so you don't have to worry about keeping track of that. I'm going to cut a bunch of newspaper articles about one unsolved murder and keep them in a box in my closet to fuck with my kids' heads after I die. Oh my God, did Dad kill this lady? Does my dad know where Sarah Ann Wood is? I already did that one. Not now, bro. I'm wondering why. Don't bother me. I'm wondering why. I'm wondering why it is someone will schedule dinner to be at the exact same time that John and Drew go live every single week. Nothing says I don't appreciate you like ignoring you for an event that can be scheduled whenever they want. All right. Twin, do not let a small win distract you from what a failure you are. Stay negative. That's what I'm doing right now. Stay negative, everybody. One disorienting thing about getting older is that nobody tells you that one disorienting thing about getting older that nobody tells you about is how weird it is to get a really passionate, extremely wrong lecture from a much younger person about a verifiable historical event that you can personally remember pretty well. I know. I was there for that. I mentioned this last week or the week before, but I'm finally at that age where I was a part of history, and uncomfortably, I'm also a part of the future now. I remember back when I was a very small child, I would watch TGIF on Friday on ABC. Urkel's Step by Step, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, whatever else was on. And then 2020 would come on with Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs and John Stossel. And I would think to myself, wow, what a crazy world it will be when someday the year is 2020. Wow, I'll be so old. And what will the future be like? Well, it'll be awful. And the only thing you will have want to do is have it be 1994 again. So the future didn't pay off. You either dated people in middle school or you're funny now. Is that why I'm so funny? I didn't even go to middle school. Didn't even attend those years. 6th, 7th, 8th grade, didn't even do them. It's funny. I was at work last Thursday and we had a principal from another jurisdiction calling me because it's like, oh, some kids withdrew from school where she works and they were supposed to enroll in school where I am, but they never enrolled. And it's been a week and the kids never enrolled and we're trying to get in touch with the parents and the parents won't answer. And I'm like, the fuck you doing following up on this? I didn't go to school for 3 years and no one gave a shit. 3 years and nobody made a phone call about where I am. I had to enroll myself in high school and not even on the first day of it. I went the second day of high school and enrolled. What's all this due diligence about and where did that suddenly come from? I wanted to tell the lady, it's none of your goddamn business. These people are probably on the lam. Maybe they're homeschooling. Maybe they live in a missile silo in Montana now. None of your business. One thing I love about America is they don't put pictures of dying babies on packs of cigarettes. That is good. Yeah, we just got a little, crest. Is that what you would call it? Philip Morris crest with the kings and the lions and the dragons. It's not very American. It sort of reeks of European-ishness, which is too bad because tobacco is very American. We brought it from America. Sir Walter Raleigh brought it back to England in the 1600s. But whatever, it is fine. Americans have this. We have hard dogs. We have spiked Frankfurters. These things are soaked in some kind of limoncello, apparently. Maybe they're not actually lemon flavored. Maybe they're just vodka infused hot dogs. I know Jenny would love those. Or tobacco flavored Doritos. This seems like what we miss most about summer, right? Tobacco Doritos. Can't wait. For the last picture of the day, I found a picture of Drew eating at Wendy's in 1987. There's Drew. He's enjoying a biggie. Oh, it's McDonald's, actually. Sorry. He's at McDonald's in 1987. That's him. Amazing. He looks so different without the glasses and with an impossibly low-cut shirt. Look, it's got sleeves on the side, or is that just a part of the jacket? I don't even know, but his shirt's open and he's got his little chest rug there and his little mini Coke and his little cheeseburger and his supersized fries he's had there at McDonald's in 1987. Good for Drew. Cylinder says, same can be asked for Drew or John or anyone we like and listen to. You got to pay attention and use critical thinking to suss out what kind of like detectives do. I don't know what that's in reference to. And I could use critical thinking to suss it out, but there's a risk. There's a not a risk. Return on investment (ROI) consideration for any expenditure of my time. I could look into this. I could invest time, but what would I get out of it? Anything? Probably not. Love you, John. I don't love you more than pasta or steak. Okay. Not tender enough to leave over it. I'd say reputation matters. Same could be said about Tansy. He claims a lot, but the folks in the department don't agree. So if your peers don't respect you, that's a red flag. Peers in his department? His what? His podcasting department? I don't know what that means. As someone who is over a psych unit, I suggest no 72-hour hold. One of my own caregivers went on a 72-hour hold, and then he had a very bad day. Brian is the lucky guy that gets to play adult games with Andrea. Andrea is a nice person, and she's decent looking, but she's not like a diamond in the rough. You know, I like her. She's nice. She's got a good accent. I remember Night Shift with Andrea update, but I never followed after that. Did you like the true crime show that I did? Fun fact, I did a whole bunch of those. I don't know. I'm being told that I'm not doing enough to make people happy, but then, no one knows what that is. So, is it possible I'm ending the show early today? Why do the fries have the straw? I like the idea that this might be a fake picture. What do we got? I think there's a shake behind the fries. Is what it is. It's an optical illusion. I think because look, there's no way that he's just drinking that tiny little Coke. He's got something else there. I think he's got a shake there. It's very common back then. Why should we trust you? You don't need to trust me. I'm not even going to waste your time and tell you to trust me. Why should we trust what Drew says? You definitely shouldn't. Drew is a very suspicious character. Jonathan, I watched it with you. Yes, I know that you did. You knew Drew was packing a 38 special in that photo. Yeah. All right. Did I end the show early? Normally I'm doing well over an hour, and somehow today I'm hitting well under an hour. And it just figures because there's 12 people here. Normally I'm playing to like 3 or 4 anymore. I'm glad everyone showed up, especially the people who don't like me. Oh, thank you, Michael. Michael dropped $5 on me. That was for a can of rain energy. He dropped some money on me last week. Michael, that's very kind of you. I wish I should come up with some sort of graphic, like somebody paid me some money that I could throw on the screen. So that way you feel like it's a super chat. But there you go. Who doesn't like you? I don't know. People that schedule meals instead of me time. We like you, John, allegedly. Well, you started a whole Discord about me. What has Abby done? She did start a Discord. Tyler's leaving. He says, good night, everybody. Exactly, Marines. All right. Brittany, Salamander, Jenny, Tyler, Michael, Abby, Lauren, Elijah. Who else? Chase was here at one point. Thanks to everybody who watched me and put me first this morning. You made me feel special. And then you very quickly reminded me that I'm not a big deal. All right. I hope you guys, how do you drop money? It's right up there on the side of the screen right here. I don't think it'll work for you, Tyler. I like you as much as you like me. I like you, John, allegedly, but I like my family more on Thursdays. All right. Okay. Don't even know how to take that. I mean, that's a slap in the face if there ever was one. Just kidding. You don't have Venmo? I get so sick of hearing that every week. I had Venmo, and when I put it up, people were like, "Oh, Venmo doesn't work, so you have to put up this other thing." I have everything, but you can't program that many QR codes on the StreamYard. It doesn't matter. I don't deserve money anyway. Brittany, you never bought any of the merch before it went away, so obviously didn't have the money to spend. All right, guys, there is content dropping tomorrow on Tuesday. If you're interested in watching my take on the phone calls about the Spencer and Monique Tepe murder case, they have arrested someone, taking them into custody. I think it's an interesting watch. I compare my notes with a guy who is a former NYPD officer, a private investigator, someone who has a hot take about what the calls mean. And we can compare them to what my hot take is and see which of us is better. Whatever. It's just some good content. It's not a full hour long or anything, and maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. And will there be something on Thursday? You'd think there would be, now that we're no longer watching football. We do all those episodes in competition with football, and now, it's just a tough time because there's no big cases going on. So I got all my stickers. You're not a big deal, but I like you anyway. Okay. Well, you're not a big deal either. Teespring finally sent the last two. All right. I'm glad that you got your stuff. Drew was asking me recently about something with, because we also have a spread shirt. I guess merchandise is still technically available, even though I don't think I put any of my designs in there for spread shirt. And he was asking me, what company was that was like screwing over? I'm like, well, they were not only just screwing me over, but when I asked to close the store, they didn't do it. I said, we needed to close down the store, that I wasn't happy with what I was getting. I never got paid from Teespring at all. They never sent me any money. And then they weren't sending the product out to the fans. And so I swapped over every design in the Teespring store to just say Teespring is a scam. And that finally got them to close it. So I had to resort to some unusual methods to get them to do that. I do what I do. And I guess I'm not as smart or as reliable as BC Sanders, and I don't have the sex appeal as Andrea, and I'm not even as important at a specific time as a plate of spaghetti. But I guess that's me. All right. I was here watching and cleaning, Chase, but hello and goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. I hope you all have a great day. No big cases right now. It sounds like you're asking us to make a big case. Go prove your love for me and commit a 911 related felony, please. It's not that. I still order the Teespring. It's a scam t-shirt. I wish I had ordered that. All right. Okay. I'm glad you all got your stuff. Thanks for watching this episode. And apparently I still have received no feedback from Salamander about why she won't watch me on Friday. She just puts this little negativity out into the universe that she won't watch me on Friday, but won't say why. That's fine. I watched it last night because I have the ability to do that. And I thought it was a decent episode. First 40 minutes, kind of we were classic form. Like some good laughs. What time on Friday? It'll drop on Spotify at like, I think it drops 8 Central. So like 9 Eastern. Hell, Lauren, for you, I'll send you a link. You can watch it right now. If you DM me somehow some way of sending something to you discreetly, I'll just send you the link and you can watch it now. I won't make you wait. You know why? I appreciate my fans. That's the people who say that they won't watch for no reason. You get in touch with me, Lauren. I will send you the link and you can watch it. I should just drop it right here, but you were West Coast John. You're so sweet. All right, guys. You can put in the Comm Center's Discord. I don't have access to that. Sorry. I took Discord off my phone. Marine's Blood. After it became clear that Tyler Robinson was communicating with people on Discord, I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. From coffee to Hard Time today. Jenny, I'm going to send it to you too, because I know that you're a big fan of Hard Time. So I'll go ahead and send it to Lauren. I'll send it to Jenny. If you want to see Hard Time today, that's not a problem. I won't watch Tansy. Guess what? Tansy's not on Hard Time. Did you know that? He never has been. You said you wouldn't watch me on Friday. I said Hard Time drops on Friday. And if you're talking about Tansy, Tansy hasn't podcasted in 7 weeks. Tansy's not even a podcaster anymore. I know you don't know that because you don't watch him, but he's gone. He may come back. I can't see the future, but I mean, like, that's not what I'm referring to on Friday. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to another show. I watch you all day, but I won't give energy or time to Tansy. Okay, again, he does not podcast anymore. He doesn't give energy or time to you. He's done. I think that since Failure to Stop is Friday, again, more than one thing can happen on Friday. Hard Time has several shows on YouTube. It does, and I'm not the one that did that. Jake mishandles that. I use YouTube as a way of storing the episodes. I put them essentially on Google's hard drives for free. They're not supposed to be there, but I guess he can run his own episodes however he wants. You notice that the ones that are on YouTube don't have me on them. Oh, because the rest of us are diehard. Because the rest of us aren't diehard listeners. Failure to Stop was Friday. However, he hasn't done any show for over a month. It's been 6 or 7 weeks. Should I just put the link in here now? Will that make everyone happy? Might be a good way to reward you. You know what'll be great about this is that I'll put the link in there, and then because Abby left early, possibly because she had to go eat lunch or something. You know, she had to go turn it off for lunch. She will miss out on the link for this. So let me pull up the link. I think that if I do it this way, it should work. I think you should be able to click on it. Let me just get that for you. This is about Robert Brooks being his killers being sentenced. And I talk about how people forgot to be mad about this. Everyone was all hot and bothered about it. And then it turns out, whoops, they forgot to give a shit. So I don't know if that'll work for you. Does that link work? I want to get your Spotify numbers too, though. Yeah. I don't know what's the most important thing. You were talking about Failure to Stop. No, I mentioned, I opened up this whole conversation by saying, if you guys really love me, just so you know, I'll be on Hard Time this Friday. You brought up Failure to Stop. I did not bring up Failure to Stop at all. Didn't bring it up. Didn't mention it. Perhaps I misheard. Yes, indeed you did. I did not bring it up. I thought you said it did a special episode of Failure to Stop. No. Nope. It's all okay. Okay, well, here's the thing that you have been fighting tooth and nail resisting for the last hour. Did not bring up Failure to Stop. I did not bring up Tansy. I just said something was happening on a Friday. The link works. Elijah says, all right, well, good luck. Go watch that. I hope you enjoy it. It starts with a weird fake newscast, just so you're not thrown. Go watch that if you still want me in your day and in your life. Otherwise, for Spotify, if you just like listening on Spotify, it drops in Spotify on Friday. I'll give that to you guys because you're pretty much my fans. I'll fight for him like just like Beeson, Andrea, and Drew. Okay. He's not at all like any of those people. Andrea and Drew were acolytes, and BC, they were all acolytes of Tansy. Those people all came from Tansy. BC first had a podcast. He started his podcast. What was it called? The Untouchables? The Interrupters? The Interceptors? And that started on Failure to Stop. And then Andrea, she started her career on Failure to Stop. And then Drew did some dabbling, but he started on Failure to Stop. Jake has always been an acolyte of me. All his success is owed to me. Okay, all right. All right, guys, show's over. Thanks for watching. Go watch that thing about Robert Brooks if you want to watch. In fact, I make some comments about failure to stop on there. Thanks to everybody who watched. Thanks to everyone who showed up. It was a good day. I liked seeing all you guys. Perhaps it's because you had the day off. And I will catch you back here. Watch for my content on Tuesday night if you're not having dinner tomorrow. It's not a premiere or anything. There's not going to be any chats, but you can just watch it if you want. Then on Thursday, we'll probably do something. I'll probably push Drew into doing something. And then we'll do something. Discord gets notifications when you go live, John. It's not live though. So okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching this episode. I do hope you enjoyed it. We will catch you back here in the future regardless. Take care.